morning, everyone. My name is Dipesh Deshmukh, and welcome to IBG's one more webinar in our huge webinar series. And today I'm very excited because the speaker of today's webinar is none other than Mr. Vikash Mittersain, who is the president and founder of IBG. Very quickly, IBG is India Business Group. It's a chamber of commerce. And we have a lot of members, and IBG goes out of the way to help members to get business, to seek business, to get connections. IBG is connected really well with the government of India, as well as a lot of other foreign agencies and governments. So very quickly, I would like to introduce two important people of IBG, Girish and Siddhi. They are our pillars. They help our members and tirelessly. So thank you, guys. I would like to introduce our CEO, Ms. Priya Pansare. Priya, can you say hi?
Hello.
Ekdam hello. Okay, ठीक है. All right. And before I bring on Vikash, I would like to quickly say three simple ground rules. One, I have put everyone on mute, so everyone will stay on mute in this session. Second, I'll appreciate if everyone will turn off their videos so that nobody else gets distracted. So please turn off your videos so we'll be in webinar mode. And third, if you have any questions for Vikash, please type them in the chat box below. And at the end, we will have a Q&A session, and I will try to ask as many questions as possible in the given timeline to Vikash. All right, guys? So please, if you can switch off your video, I'll really appreciate it. So today's speaker doesn't need any introduction to our members, but I can see a lot of non-members who have joined into today's session. So for their sake, I would like to introduce Vikash formally. So Vikash Mittersain, he's a very dear friend of mine. I've known him for many years, since almost beginning of IBG. He's the chairman and managing director of Nazara Technologies. He's the founder and president of IBG, or India Business Group. He's honorary council of Republic of Mali. Now that is the reason IBG members indirectly get a lot of access to foreign governments and foreign consulates, thanks to his official position there. He's also on advisory board of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Center in Lucknow. He's member of Rotary Club Mumbai. He's a TEDx speaker. He's a book author. He's written 2 books. He's written more than 2 books. You CEO, You the Leader. I know in the lockdown, he's finished his 4th book, and he's already started writing a 5th book. So that's amazing. He's also a radio jockey at the All India Radio FM Gold. He's well connected in the business and political circles, both in Maharashtra and New Delhi. He's also well known in the expats and consulate circles in Mumbai. So that's a very, very brief introduction of Vikash. And with that, what we are going to do today is we are going to have a conversation with Vikash. And the main reason of having this conversation is we all love success. We all love victories. But I feel we don't learn anything from success. We don't learn anything from victories. What really teaches us is failures, because then you at least know what not to do. All right. So today we are going to have a discussion on failures with Vikash, and he's going to actually open up and share the failures that he had in his life and how he has managed to rise out of it. So that really, the moment we planned this topic, it gave me goosebumps, because not too many people would like to talk about their own failures. They always love to show how nice, successful I am. And they don't want to show, what all things they have gone through. But Vikash, being an absolute open person, he very candidly said, yes, I would like to tell people what went wrong and how people should manage their businesses so that things don't go wrong the way he had to face. So I would like to start with a very interesting quote I read many years ago. When you learn from your own mistakes, you get experience. But when you learn from others' mistakes, you receive wisdom. So today, guys, we are here to learn from Vikash's mistakes, and I hope we all receive wisdom from him. So So hi Vikash, how are you this morning?
All good, all good. Thanks for the brief introduction. It was not that brief. You could have cut it shorter.
Yeah. That's okay. But people need to know,
All
a
right.
few things about you. I mean, I can go on and on for like 2 pages of introduction, but this was short.
Thank you.
All right. So Vikash, tell us something about growing up and your entrepreneurial journey, because I know you're from Sangli, you're from a small town,
Yes.
right? So people who are from Bombay, from Delhi, they have the exposure and stuff like that. But you've grown up in a smaller town. So if you could tell us a little bit about your initial days, initial journey.
So actually, I'm not from Sangli. I was transported to Sangli for about 15 years of my life.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, 15 years is a lot of growing up years.
Yeah. So what happened was that, when I grew up in Bombay, I became the black sheep of the family, so to say. I
Okay.
started doing all those things that I should not have been doing from the age of 13,
Okay.
drinking, so many things which I would not like to mention here. And then I kept on failing school. And then finally, in my first year in college, Mithibai, I utterly failed. My dad called me to his office and he said, I don't think you are suited to be in Bombay. And he sent me away to Sangli, where we had a textile mill. So, in fact, it was a blessing in disguise because there was no parental guidance left there. And I had 3 motorcycles and I was all over the place. Sangli is a lovely area. It has got very good hill stations. And I formed a group. Naturally, I always do that, of about 10 boys and girls. And
Hmm.
we used to be into the jungles. We used to go shooting. Of course, I won't even mention the drinks that we used to take along.
Sangli has
That
winery,
was,
right? So I know what you're saying.
yeah. So that sort of background was there till I became about 18, 19, maybe 20. And then I got back to Bombay because my dad said that it's time to join the business. We had a textile mill, and I sort of got the title of president of Madhavnagar Cotton Mills. I didn't deserve it at all, but I got it. And then I was given exports as my assignment. Again, great time. I was all over the world. I think I've been to hundreds of places, hundreds of times, like Iran 40 times, Dubai, UAE, Germany, wherever. So that was a learning process, learning the world with my own eyes. That was fine. And then a time came when it was time for me to go out on my own. And I came away and started a business thinking I'm the best. Nobody can compare with me. And I started a textile export business, garments actually. And then I started taking so much risk. I thought that nobody can touch me. And then I fell flat on my face. The first time I went completely bankrupt. I owed money all over the place. When you go bankrupt, you always owe money. That is one learning if anybody wants to know about that. You always owe money because you've been borrowing and doing your work. So that went on for 2 years. Absolute mess of my life. My kids were small, and I used to wonder what's going to happen to them when they grow up. I mean, how are they going to grow up? But then God intervened. He said, okay, this guy suffered enough. And then out of the blue, I get a call from somewhere in London or something asking me whether I can do a certain thing. And I said, I'll try. And the next month onwards, I was making like 10 lakhs a month profit just by that business, which came on its own. It took me 2 years to pay off all my debt. I paid every penny. I didn't hold back. There are people who were willing to settle for half. I said, no, just forgive me the interest part. Take your entire money that I owe you. It took me 5 years to get back to a proper situation after that. So I'm just to let me intervene and tell you that I have done a TEDx talk. The subject was celebrating failure. Mostly people, as you said, mostly people celebrate success. In India, it's very difficult to say that I'm a failed person. Because I remember the first time I went bankrupt, even friends known to me, when they used to cross my path, used to take another path. कि पैसा नहीं मांग ले कहीं, because it was all over the place. So that was my first failure. What do you want me to say next?
So, so I know that you have switched between businesses a few times, right? So that is one thing we would like to know, that what happened, what kind of businesses you switched to, and
So, so
what.
I was first, my first job was with my dad,
Okay.
which was a textile mill.
Uh-huh.
We had 4,000 workers, huge mill. It was in Sangli. That's when I landed up there because I couldn't do anything in Bombay. I was just getting more and more spoiled. So I landed there. So that was my first experience in work and business. Then when I came to in Bombay, I just told you my second assignment, which was garment exports. When that failed, my son had come along by then from school and college. So he asked me what should we be doing now. He was already attending office when I failed. So I told him, you are a tech guy. Why don't we start something in tech? And so we started Nazara. Actually, we started another company before that, which was in pure making of programs and things like that on assignment. That went on for 2 years. Then we said, this is not, it's not really not fun, just doing work for others. So we started Nazara Technologies. That was the dot-com period. Does anybody here remember the dot-com period of 2000?
Of course, yes.
Yes. So that was the dot-com period. And we started Nazara.com, but it was a Bollywood website. It started as a Bollywood website. We were interviewing the Bollywood stars and musicians, and we had several portfolios within that. One of the and at that point of time, actually, so I did another bloomer then. There was, suddenly there was the dot-com bubble, and everybody wanted to invest in everybody and everything. I remember a guy had come from Spain, an Indian Sindhi. He wanted to invest in Nazara, but I was again flying high in my own mind. Because in those days, we were just hearing everywhere, $5 million, $10 million, this word, that word. This guy said, let me invest $5 million. And then he sat with me the whole night in my office, wouldn't let me go home. He wanted me to close the deal that day. But for some reason, I didn't see the value of that $5 million. I thought my own value was much, much more. And we let him go. And then the dot-com crash came in virtually within 6 months. Again, that was another huge failure, another huge money trouble. It went on. By that time, in Nazara, I had already taken on a load of 100 employees. So I used to, I was not grounded. Whenever I tried to do anything, I did it too big without thinking of the consequences. All those 200 people or 100 people stayed on with me despite the crash. And even now, Nazara has at least 30 who are from that era. So they didn't leave me, even though they were not paid salary for 2 years. This second time, we were so out of money that we couldn't pay our electricity bills. We couldn't pay the telephone bills. And you know what happens when you don't pay bills.
Yeah.
But I managed. My job was only trying to manage to keep the company running, not bothering what business the company is doing. So the electric guy used to come, but the watchman was already told in our society that if you see the BST bus, that jeep coming in, come quickly and tell me. So I used to be prepared for them when they walk in. Used to come and sit in my table and say, show us the bill. I said, you are yourself carrying it. Why do you want me to show it? Okay, so you come to disconnect your supply. By that time, I had built up a friend in BST. He was the general manager of BST. And I used to just call him. I'm forgetting his name right now. I used to just call him and say, "Aa gaye tumhare aadmi." Then he used to say, "Phone pakda do unko." This went on for 2 years. The guy supported me through and through. Same thing used to happen with MTNL. There was the GM then, there was one Ashok Kant, who is also, even now, he's my good friend. Exactly same story. They used to cut off the telephone the moment you exceeded a certain number of days. I used to call him up, he used to say, okay, don't worry. He started getting tired of my calls, but he kept on supporting me. So that was the story of the second failure. But then once we turned the tide, then I learned my lessons. I knew what should be done. Even now, I know whenever there is anything new to be done, I know which is going to fail, which one of my ideas or whatever we are trying, I can see far away now than the present. Say,
Nice. So that's, I mean, so you're telling us that you've failed twice in life. A
yes,
lot of people give up once they fail for the first time, and you've
yeah,
gone
yeah.
through failures twice. So,
Hmm.
Vikash, if you can share, what did you learn along this journey from the failures, especially that you faced? What was your learning outcome?
So the basic learning is don't fly in the air. Be absolutely grounded. Be careful in every decision. Look far ahead for every decision that where is this going to end? And then there is a lot of learnings in that sense. Now, a lot of people come to me for advice, and I can clearly see the holes in their business plans. So I'm always telling them at this point, you're going to stop, you're going to fail. So take care of this from now. So suddenly my vision changed. Having failed, I could see the failures in other people's business plans. So that was a learning. And for my own company, I made sure, even now I tell my people when they come up with something, you know, this is going to not work for so and so reason. In the beginning, it will look good, it will work very well, but you're going to fall down again after so much time. So that was a learning.
Interesting. So, having said that, I would like you to give advice to our budding entrepreneurs. Um, what should they do when they're starting off a new business, or they are in the first couple of years of their business? So, what advice would you give them uh, that will help them not fall into these kind of pitfalls?
One thing I always tell people and business guys that be totally honest. The starting point is honesty. You have to be, and anybody around me knows that I will never do anything wrong, never falsify, and that is what an entrepreneur has to be, because you don't realize dishonesty breeds in itself. It pulls you down after a certain point. So just be honest, that's the starting point. And then, of course, it depends on what you are doing, what you're planning, what's your business. Yes, I can go into anybody's business and suggest what they should be doing and what direction. But in principle, it is the honesty bit.
Interesting. And also what I figured is building and developing relationships is also very key, right? You were able to
Oh
hold on to
yeah,
electricity and phone guys just based on the relationship.
yes. So that is the another point. That is the other thing which I learned and which I also tell people. You know, people say that networking is a waste of time. I say that if you're not networking, you're not working, because it is the relationships which matter a lot. You know, when you're trying to go into to somebody's office to sell something, always remember that the buyer in his own mind has already made up his mind to say no. It's very difficult to convince somebody to buy a product when he has already decided his mind, because they already have other suppliers, they have other ideas. But if you met that guy somewhere before over a drink or at a networking place, his mindset is to say yes. And then it's only when you fail to convince him that you don't get the order. So that's the difference between networking and not working and selling products. Don't go blind.
Amazing. So this is something I learned for the first time. Networking is working, or networking, if you're not
Not working. Yeah,
networking, you're not working.
absolutely. It's
So I
very important. It's very
believe that.
important.
Yes, Vikash. And a lot of people somehow miss that. I've seen people in several forums, they are out networking, but at the end, I've met some people and said, oh, today I got so many business cards.
Yeah, that's not
And that's
important.
not networking. Networking is building those relationships and nurturing them.
Whenever I am networking or whenever I have been networking for the last 20 years, I quickly scan the crowd,
Mhm.
meet everybody for a minute. But within that time, I realize this one guy is the important guy for today. And then I spend the rest of the evening with him or her. So this is something one has to recognize to be able to see who is important for you. And I have seen that always out of a networking evening, I have walked away with one very good connect.
And I believe even if you get one very good connect from
the evening is worth it.
At the end of 1 year, you're going to be richer than before, right?
Yes. So you get to know so many people who are your well-wishers. That is very important.
Absolutely. Also, I've seen, since we are on the topic of networking, I've seen a lot of people, they try and seek business while they are networking, which
Never do that.
So wrong.
No, totally wrong. You're absolutely right. Don't try to pitch your business or try to sell in that first meeting. In fact, not even on the second one. It's only the third meeting that his mind is open to listen to what you're saying. Otherwise, everybody comes with a blocked mind. And so you're right there.
Correct. So, see, the moment when we are networking and when somebody's talking about what they are doing, mentioning it in brief is something. But I've seen people, they make you stand and keep on giving their history, geography. And I'm like, hello, I want to meet more people. So what do you think some basic tricks of networking, Vikash? How would you guide people?
So another thing which I can say and which I believe in, if you notice, you just mentioned it. When you're out there networking, listen, don't speak, don't say, learn to listen. That's most important. If you open your mind and listen to somebody, he becomes a well-wisher because you're listening to his ideas. You're not trying to butt in and talk your own things.
Right.
Always learn to listen.
And I agree. And a lot of people just miss that point. And second, I would like to add is ask the right questions, because only then you will get to know more about that person.
Yep.
And I believe that is a far better way of building relationships instead of selling.
Never sell. Understand one thing. You should never sell. Let the other guy buy your product.
Absolutely. Also, one more thing I feel people miss out on in networking events or in a business forum, like either IBG or any other forum, is they try and sell their goods and services to the members of that forum. You don't understand that they should be your sales force and they should talk about it to their contacts, right?
Yeah.
So how would you, again, suggest people to go about networking the right way?
So, you're not going for networking to sell your product. You're going to sell yourself there.
Correct.
You're going to get to know people. That is not a sales forum at all, which most people don't understand.
They don't.
Most people just hand out their card and they start talking.
Correct.
And then they hope that they're able to close a sale. Yeah. A sale is never closed in the first meeting. You have to, again, I'm repeating myself, get to know the person. Correct. And more important, listen to the other guy.
Right.
First, listen to the guy. And if that at all, even if there is a 10-minute discussion, you should be talking only 1 out of those 10 minutes. Leave the floor to the other guy for the rest of the evening.
Great. So yeah, these are some very important and basic tips that people should use when networking, because again, if you don't build a trust with that person, why will he either give business to you or open up his contacts, right? So building trust is also a very important part of networking, right?
Yeah. That is what it is, the listening part, the trust part. You are not out there to sell.
Awesome.
Either yourself or your product.
Yeah. Vikash, what I think we should do is a lot of people are asking questions. So can we start taking some of the questions from
anytime, whatever you're heading this thing today. I'm just the responder.
Okay, boss. Okay, let me just quickly go through these. There are so many questions, messages. Okay, so we have a question from Jailam. She's asking, what about entrepreneurs who have managed well for years and then they have got setbacks? What do you have to say for them?
So The answer is only that they may have managed well, but that's gone to their head. They think that they're invincible. Nothing can uh, spoil their journey. That's when the fall comes. They start taking chances, they make mistakes without realizing that they're making a mistake. And that's where the end starts. But it's never the end. Again, I'll say on that, it is never the end. There is always a new beginning if you don't give up. Never give up is another thing. Never give up. Whatever you do, whatever setbacks, there is always a path back to where you want to go.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Vikash. So we have one more question. If you're passionate about your business and your idea, and after 5 years, if you are still making loss, then how long do you pursue? In other words, would you decide to shut down even if you're passionate?
Yes, I mean, there is a time limit to everything. Even to life, there is a time limit.
Correct.
Whether you want to shut down or not, God will shut you down. So, if you're trying something, you're really passionate about it, maybe your passions are needed somewhere else, not in that work. Any business has to succeed in a maximum of 2 years.
Okay, well said. So something people should remember, that they should not go on and on and on and
Yeah,
still
or
incurring losses.
seek advice.
Yeah.
You may be doing something, even a small thing, you may be doing wrong in it.
Correct. Interesting. All right. Another question is, in human resource driven businesses, how do you have a good team? Because people come at a price, and if you're still bleeding, then how do you get them?
The question is not all that clear. What do you really want to know?
Yeah. So what I make of this question is that any business that is people driven business, you need
Yeah.
people come at a price. So you need expensive people. But if you're bleeding, you're not making profits. How do you manage to get these expensive people to run your business? So it's like a catch-22 circle, vicious circle.
So there, it is only the power of ideas that will work. It is not just the money. The guy has to believe in you, believe in your dream, believe in your passion, and want to be part of that. Price is one thing, okay, they're used to a certain level of money. You can't tell them come at a lower price.
Right.
Because they're used to that level of money. Their family is used to that much money. You cannot never ask them to come at a lower price, but give them what they need, but also sell them your story. You're not bringing them in only for the money. They're not joining you only for the money. So it's important to fire up that passion to your idea.
Great. So our next question is, what inspires you to work so efficiently from home?
What you're talking of these times?
Yeah, it looks like. I mean, I'm not talking. These are the questions that people are asking.
So my company, Nazara Technology, is a digital company. All our business is digital. In fact, I find that Nazara is working more efficiently from home with everybody sitting at home and connecting every day than what we ever worked at office. The question that comes up, do we at all need to go to office?
Very true. Very true. And good thing is Nazara has products basically which are games, and people are playing a lot of games during lockdown. So
that is an added
absolute advantage
thing right now.
Yeah. All right. So our next question is social media platform good to start the business? So yeah, I think they want to ask, is it a good idea to start a business on social media marketing, I think?
So this is such a broad-based question. Can the person be more specific? What business on social media?
Okay, Anjali, if you can type a more specific question, it will help. Till then, I'll move to the next question. Please share your insights on how we can turn around a setback like Corona into one of the greatest comebacks.
It depends entirely on your business. There is no one shoe fits all. Everything depends on what you are doing. How does it, what was the setback due to Corona? If you're a manufacturing person, then there is a different sort of setback. If you're a consultant, then it's different. So it depends specifically.
Okay. So our next question is, if you manage to retain your team even after not paying them for 2 years, what non-monetary measures helped you to retain them?
It was just loyalty. We were paying them well, doesn't mean we were paying high, but we always paid our salaries on time till the day we couldn't pay. And then once somebody comes into my company, they just don't remain employees. They become friends. They become family. So family doesn't disperse so easily. They stay with you for the long term, whatever you're going through.
Very nice.
And they know that this is a genuine issue. You're working hard to sort it out, and they have a future with you.
Cool. Interesting. So our next question is, from experience of having failed and risen to becoming successful, what would be your 3 points mantra for entrepreneurs whose business is on a decline mode, purely based on your experience?
So one of the mantras is what I already said. Be totally honest. Don't even fool yourself. Be honest with yourself. Are you doing the right thing? Are you going the right direction? And if the business is not, it's actually failing, then please sit back and think what you're doing wrong and go and take advice.
Okay.
Basically, these 3 mantras should bring you out and back into form, so to say.
And I think they're so simple, yet.
Yeah, everything in the world is simple till you yourself complicate it.
Absolutely. And we are experts in complicating things, no?
Yes. That's why we are human beings. We know how to complicate things.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So next question is, suppose if a small entrepreneur, So if small entrepreneurs are doing good business in the beginning, but after some time we face issues and losses, or maybe no business. So how can we overcome, and what steps to be taken to grow?
So a small entrepreneur, always is a one-man show. When a small entrepreneur starts, they're basically a one-man show with an idea and probably some experience behind him in that particular thing. And then you keep on adding people as you grow.
Right.
Maybe you overreach. Maybe you're not capable of doing more than that. That is where you have to decide, again, based on your own business, at what point should you professionalize. Don't try to stay a one-man show forever. When you're growing, there comes a point where you need to hand over things to other people. Don't think that you are the ultimate. It's when people start thinking that's when the setback starts coming in. You may have a manager, but you still go to the worker and tell him what to do.
Right.
Because you feel that you know better than that manager. So why have you hired a manager? So start becoming a bit hands-off the day-to-day.
All right.
Delegate. Yep. Delegate is very important.
Absolutely.
That's when that happens when you're growing, but you don't realize that the time has come for you to step aside or move back.
Correct. I feel, initially when entrepreneurs are bootstrapping, they're doing everything by themselves. It becomes very difficult for them to trust somebody else because they feel I can do this job better than anyone else, right?
Yeah, they do feel, and probably they can do. But still, if you need to grow, you have to hand over, and then you have to spend your time on other things within the company.
Right. All right. That's a very important tip. So next is a very interesting question. How much does luck contribute to your success and failures?
Are you asking me specifically?
No,
my
I think
failures or my success or general? But let me answer that. Luck plays the final part. You may do everything well, but if you don't have luck, then nothing works. But it doesn't apply the other way. I mean, you can't just do shoddy work and expect luck to save you. So it's a mix and match. Do your work right, do your job right, but the final success comes from God, from luck. So that is a hand in hand situation.
Absolutely. And I've read it long time ago that the spelling of luck, you spell luck as WORK.
Mm.
But still, 1%, I'm sure luck plays a lot of role in our lives. So, but
It does. I mean,
not stop
you,
working hard, right?
you look at the Ambanis, so much success, but you see them going to the temple so often. Why
Yeah,
do they go? They want God also to help them all the time.
I agree.
They're
Guys,
going for that reason.
I agree.
And all the other big people, they are, they believe in God, and that's where they are, and that's what helps them.
I agree. Uh, Sir, can you please share your success mantra, which you've already done, and what kept you going through tough phase of your life? Okay, so yeah, the question is what you did during the tough phase of your life. I think that's what the person wants to know.
Yeah, so that I have been through those two tough phases, and they were tough, really tough. You know, like there was a time when my daughter was growing up, and I didn't have money to buy her a pair of jeans for 6 months. So it can't get tougher than that. And many such instances which are of no relevance now. But what kept me going was twofold: belief in God, and belief, by God, I mean my own destiny, and belief in hard work and not giving up. I refused to give up. I said, you know, there is still life in me, and there is still a future in me. Self belief. Have that self belief that you will still come up top.
Amazing. And I think that belief is the most important part that will keep on
Yeah, it
pushing.
keeps you going. Keeps you going.
Yeah. So when people say, when people nahi, somebody great said, कर्म करते रहो, फल की अपेक्षा मत करो.
Yeah,
You are actually living example of that, right?
to an extent. अपेक्षा तो रहती है ना फल की.
Yeah, but कर्म नहीं रुकना चाहिए ना.
कर्म is most important.
Yeah.
इसमें कोई doubt नहीं है.
Absolutely. Great, Vikash. Okay, so the person who had asked that social media wala question clarified.
Yeah.
For cosmetics and perfume, is it good to use social media platform? Selling cosmetics and
For
perfume.
perfume.
Yeah.
So now social media is omnipresent. You can sell anything and everything on social media. Is how you go about it.
Right.
It's the best platform for sales. It's just how you approach it is important. Don't just try to do hard selling there on social media. You have to just plant your ideas and your product sideways. Don't throw it in their face.
I agree
But
with
social media is the future of everything.
you. I agree. The only thing is, see, now the famous perfumes that people know, you know, Dior, I mean, Armani's and whatever, they're well-known perfumes, right? But imagine somebody, I mean, it's my question slash concern that if a new perfume is launched, people don't even know how it smells. I don't know how will I buy? Why will I? Right. So that will be a little challenge, I feel, but
Well, people are also selling clothes,
smell, right?
clothes and shoes now on social media.
Uh-huh.
But people buy it because even though they don't try it on,
Correct.
they don't know how it's going to fit.
Right.
Even a shoe, I mean, I at my age would be reluctant to buy a shoe
Uh-huh.
from a website
Right.
because 90% it will not fit me. That's what I think.
Uh,
Coming back to perfume, you need to have one small differentiator in your perfume
right.
and bring that out, whatever it is. Even if it is attar, but talk of roses there and talk of the smell of roses.
Yeah.
That is something people know.
Correct. Correct.
And so that will be your differentiator.
I agree.
So it applies to every product, whatever you want to sell on social media. It is the differentiator which will get you that sale.
Great. Great. It makes sense. So our next question is, what are the steps to be taken to gain loyalty from your employees, I'm assuming?
No, it may be also customer loyalty. It may
Yeah,
not be. Loyalty, as
answer
far
for
as,
both then.
yeah, as far as your employees are concerned, just behave well with them, make them feel important, that they're required for the company, they're doing a good job. See that you get to know what their troubles are. We get to know them personally. I'll give you one small example about myself. Whenever I go to a restaurant, or whenever you go to a restaurant, or whenever anybody goes to a restaurant, we don't even look in the face of this person who is serving you, the waiter. Do we ever look? We are just looking at the menu and we're just talking to him without looking at him. It's important to look into his face and talk to him, and don't just talk to a waiter. So there is a difference. He will serve you much better. In the same way, it applies to employees. They will be much more loyal to you if you're on one-to-one, person-to-person basis. Don't think that if you're paying the person, you bought him. Nobody buys anybody.
All right.
Even your peon, even your driver. Let me give you an example, a current example. When the lockdown happened, I told my driver, can you come? He has a family. He lives in the deep suburbs in some. He immediately came and he has stuck with me. I've got an extra flat. He's been living there. One peon is living there. Two peons are living in the office. They came in 1 second when I called them. They all left their family. They're still there. It's been almost 3 months. So what is that? They're not there because I'm paying them. They're there because of loyalty, because I have said that I need you there. That is what you have to bring out in all your employees.
Absolutely. I agree. And having known you for so many years, Vikash, and being around you, I've seen the way you treat your people in your office. And I'm not surprised why you have such a loyal force behind you. So that's something really worth learning. So the next question is, what, according to you, will be the sunrise enterprise after COVID, post-COVID?
We are in for a long haul. Be sure about that. But don't be totally despondent also. There might be some good surprises which come, though I've not yet put my finger on it. There are certainly, of course, certain businesses which will thrive more and certain which will die.
Right.
But that we can only know once we are back to a regular working schedule. We don't know whether our products are going to sell more or sell less. It all depends on how this world emerges. Nobody all over the world knows what's going to happen next. So
Absolutely.
don't try to think or even say that I know. I am not the know-it-all. Nobody is the know-all. We'll have to go through this 6 months. We don't yet even know when this thing is ending, and we can get back to some extent. Of course, for 6, 8 months, it's never going to be the same again. But you have to find your place back into that jungle.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So the next question is, do you think India will succeed in the opportunity to replace China as a manufacturing hub?
It's not so sure right now. The Indian government is not doing much to bring that China magic into India. China went out hugely to create so many things for which people came there to manufacture. India is in a similar situation because China, a lot of people went there for two reasons. All the factories. One was cheap cost of production, lowest amongst in the whole world at that point of time, and its own huge market. Now, India has both these things. The question is how are we going to use it and how we are going to present it to the world. And I'm sure this Rajalakshmi Rao, who's here, knows more about this than I do.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. All right. Our next question is, how do you think WhatsApp Pay can change the landscape? How do you think Reliance is going to use their Facebook tie-up?
So that is such a very specific question. We don't really know.
Correct.
Reliance has a much larger plan going forward. And there are various different reasons which I can't go into you, why they have done these big ticket buys. I would rather not even talk on the open platform about that.
I agree. So we can just call Mukesh Bhai and just ask.
So simple, isn't it?
All right. So you mentioned, so the next question, you mentioned about rejecting the investment offer that you got.
Okay.
How to judge if the offer given by an angel investor is worth taking, or or you should accept?
It depends so much on so many factors. Who the investors, angels are okay because they are there only to give you the money. Only to give you the money. It is the next level that you have to watch for. It's when real investor comes in after angel. Angel is only to survive
Right.
for some time till you can get your business model working. So angel is nothing but money. They're not going to direct you. They're not going to control you.
Right. Ventures you should be careful of because they're also called vultures, right?
So, that is the bad word given to them.
I know that.
Most of them are not vultures.
Yeah.
Most of them are in it with you.
Correct.
It's only when does the venture capitalist become a vulture capitalist is when you are doing things wrong. The venture capital guy came in with a certain understanding.
Right.
But suppose you try to take that money away for your personal needs or personal spends, or you're not following the business plan. Even if you have a change in business plan, you have to get your venture capital guy along with you. You can't just have taken his money and then tell them, I don't care. They're in it for the long ride.
Absolutely.
So the difference between venture and vulture is this. That you create the vulture. They don't come in as vultures.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. So the next question is it possible to start a business on a low budget?
Yes, why not? Again, it depends on your business.
Right.
You don't need to have big amounts of money to start a business. I have done it twice without any money. I started Nazara with minus 10 crores in the bank. Today, we are a 4,000 crore company. So I didn't need 2,000 crores to start this company.
Right.
It just built up. Luck was with me. We did good work. So to answer that question, it depends on what level of business you want to jump into straight away. That dictates the money. Money doesn't dictate the business.
And you have to have a big heart, a strong heart, and a lot of courage, right?
I'm telling you, everybody has it when they start out. It's when they misstep that's when the problems come in.
Right. All right. So Vikash, what we'll do is, so questions are constantly pouring in, but a lot of them you have kind of answered. So I'll not ask them again and again.
Yeah.
So on that note, I would love to end this session. And if any more questions that are there, we will forward them to you and we'll have them answered.
Sure.
All right. So Vikash,
thank
you so much for sharing your life experiences with us. And I absolutely appreciate you being so open and candid about your failures. Before we say goodbye, I would like to invite our CEO, Priya,
what her name?
closing remarks. Priya, you're on.
Yeah. Hi. Hi. Hey, thank you, Vikash, for an enlightening and entertaining conversation. This insightful lecture was definitely full of wisdom and information. I feel our IBG members and guest associates who attended today will be able to extract best results of your learnings and by applying these tips in their business lives. I once again thank you for having spared your precious time for all of us. For many of you who don't know, it's been 6 years I'm working with IBG, and we are proud to be led by a boss and mentor like him. It really feels so amazing working in your positive environment. Thanks for everything.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me for a change.
Vikash talked about taking care of people. See, it resonates so well. All right. So
Okay.
once again, Vikash, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I would like to tell people that tomorrow we have a very nice, interesting webinar by Mr. Gul Kriplani. Tomorrow at 11, you all will get the link for sure. So once again, thank you so much, Vikash. I had a great time having this conversation with you. And
Thank you.
on that note, I would like to say goodbye to everyone. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody, from me.